What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 388 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we will be breaking down some of the current events, the rumors, the news, the gossip, and everything else that went down in the world of professional wrestling over the past few days. Who are we? Well, I'm your host as always, Tony Mango, and my co-host as always is Robert DeFelice.
How you doing tonight, Tony?
We'll see.
It must be wild card night because you didn't even count us down. You jumped right into the intro.
That's right, yeah. Well,
taken back.
You know, I like to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but 5 things don't necessarily equate to 5 things anymore. Sometimes they're 3. And that changes things up a little bit, you know. So we're going to talk about the table for 5, and we're going to talk about NXT TakeOver 23, and lots of different things that are strange when it comes to this.
Good.
First things first, let's just go back in time to the oldest story that we got going on here, which was the last of the bunch of Worlds Collide specials that they had done. They had done 4 of these, and this is going back to WrestleMania Access, so that's kind of annoying a little bit because we knew some of the information and not all the information, and it was just the biggest pain in the balls when it came to a lot of these things. But they did this all out of order, and even though the 4th day of WrestleMania Access was when this happened, it was, you know, the 5th one came first and all that, and they ended things with Brands Collide, which they originally had called Brands Battle, and they changed it to just Brands Collide because, you know, why not do that as well? And that was a women's battle royal and a men's battle royal. First question I got for you is, did you check it out?
No, I did not. Honestly, I've been kind of just gauging will I view it, won't I view it on your opinion, and so far you've said that they're all pretty middle of the road, and I haven't gone out of my way for middle of the road.
No, and you don't need to watch this one. Battle royals are fun, and there's like an inherent kind of fun quality to any of them just because battle royals are cool, but nothing is on the line. Nothing really all that great happens, and I'm just going to spoil it for the people that, because I know nobody's going to really watch this and stuff, but the women's battle royal was in the order of their entrances: Bianca Belair, Tainara Conchi, Casey Catanzaro, Deonna Purrazzo, Io Shirai, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, Jessie Elaban, who's just going by Jessie now, which, again, typical, like, only one name can exist type things. Lacey Lane, which I still don't understand why Lacey Lane has her theme song. It's like this generic production trailer music, and they need to change that immediately. Kavita DeVay was in there. I think she's a babyface now, which is strange. Kaylee Ray. Oh yeah, Tainara Khan, she's like a heel again. She went from being a heel to being a babyface to being a heel, and nobody cares. Kaylee Ray was in it, Mia Yim was in it, Piper Niven, Reina Gonzalez, Aaliyah, Vanessa Bourne, and Toni Storm. And the person who shined the most, not in like the best performer way, but that they kind of treated as like a big deal, was Reina Gonzalez. And it was just like, what the fuck is she making a big deal about? Just because she's like the tallest one or something, I guess. I don't know. But the eliminations were kind of strange. People got eliminated way before I thought that they would, and just it felt like it was like a test thing. Just kind of like, let's do some random shit. Bianca Belair won by last eliminating Io Shirai, and that doesn't make up for her not winning the title, but I guess it's something. And
but did you know that she's undefeated?
You forgot the there you go. And the men's battle royal was Arya Daivari, the Brian Kendrick, Dave Mastiff, Drew Gulak, Fabian Eichner, who they announced as Fabian Eichner, and I don't know if we're going to change his name around or something either. Eric Bugenhagen, Umberto Carrillo, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Dominic Dijakovic, Ligero, Matt Riddle, Rinku Singh. I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name, but it was, I think, Sharav Gurjar, sure. Roderick Strong, Wesley Blake, Steve Cutler, no Jackson Riker, Akira Tozawa, Travis Banks, and Tyler Bate, no Trent Seven.
Okay, so hold on. Before you go further, can I guess who won that?
Go for it.
With the Dijak?
Nope.
Really? Who was it?
I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Okay. Matt Riddle.
Nope.
One of the Coffee Boys?
Roderick Strong.
Oh, I like Roderick Strong. Yeah, hell yeah.
I thought after because I didn't know who was in this beforehand, because this is one of those matches that nobody reported on the entire internet. They acted like they just were a void. I was like, oh, Dijakovic's in this. Okay, he's totally going to win. And then 2 people later is Matt Riddle. And I'm like, oh, okay, fuck. Well, it's going to be Dijakovic and Matt Riddle in the end. And not that long into it, they're gone. And I'm just kind of thinking, well, what the fuck is happening here? Like, how are Tyler Bate and Roderick Strong in the end of this with Rinku Singh and Gurjar and whatever? And those 2 are a tag team, and the one eliminated the other one. Like, they just started fighting each other and stuff. I've never seen those 2 before. One of them in particular, I think it's Gurjar, is like real fucking tall. So, that's the reason why they like him and everything. But that was kind of interesting. And there was a fun little part in this where at the very beginning where Bugenhagen and Matt Riddle are on the outside, and Bugenhagen pretends to give the guitar to Matt Riddle, so they end up having a jam session around the ring. But
I like Bugenhagen. He's gonna be fun.
He's very dangerously heading in the Adam Rose, No Way Jose territory. But if they can avoid doing that, then thumbs up. This was a more fun thing, and I like the ending of it with Strong and Bate. They ended up having a really good like back and forth of like who's going to win. And if you're going to check out either of these, check that one out. But to be perfectly honest, you don't really need to check that out either. So that's Worlds Collide. It's 4 special events that they did during WrestleMania Access, and none of them were really something that was can't miss. But at the same time, hey, if they're going to do some matches during WrestleMania Access, that's cool. And if they're going to record them, that's even better. And if they're going to air them on the network as like something special to showcase, this is the first time that I saw Singh and Gurjar. This is the first time that I had seen Jesse, not the first time that I've seen Jesse Alabama, but like I haven't seen Jesse Alabama in a long while. And that's good to get those people a little bit out there. Problem being, don't advertise it as being also including the main roster if you have like no main roster people in there. Because there was maybe like 3 matches that included somebody, and that's really kind of pushing it, because it's like Nikki Cross is a main roster person. Yeah, tell me what roster she's on. Apparently she's on Raw now, according to Main Event, but
oh, good. We're
that's
figuring that out.
Yeah, that's tangential type stuff. But the most interesting thing I thought about this that was like it's going to get lost in the shuffle and nobody's going to ever pay attention to it was they were kind of doing this thing where it was like the 205 Live people and the NXT people and the NXT UK people were kind of like huddled together a little bit. And fucking Dave Mastiff is just hanging around the NXT and 205 Live section. And it's like, Dave, move to the other side, fucker. Every single person is in their group. And you're just kind of like looking at the NXT UK guys going like, yeah, what's up? It's just, I don't know what, like the wires got crossed in his head on that or whatever, but I thought that was really funny. But I wouldn't recommend them. I would say if you really are needing some background stuff, put on the Worlds Collide stuff. But other than that, if you're trying to like budget your time, don't waste it.
I like it in theory, but none of it grabbed my attention.
I like the name. I like that they're adding these things on there. And if you are somebody who's a big fan of it, then you just can't get enough WWE stuff, then then it's positive. Like there's no negative for this. That's a good way to look at it. Outside of the fact that it's more fucking work for me to do. That's just. But hey.
Yeah, I often wonder if 12-year-old me would have just loved everything being put out.
Yeah, that's tough because I mean I'm judging based off of Monday Night Raw and that's it. And then eventually, like, hey, we got SmackDown too. But SmackDown didn't even really come about when I was still watching it. So that's still kind of like, hey, I've got 2 hours of Raw. per week. That's my WWE fix. Now, if I were a little kid, would I be like, hooked to the WWE network and watching old matches much easier? Because I used to rent old tapes and stuff, and now if I could just put on WrestleMania 4 or something, like I probably would have been really goddamn annoying as a kid.
I mean, I was as a child, and it drove me nuts that I didn't have like so many years. There's so much gaps in my tapes. So I know like I would have loved the network for that. I love the network for that now. But to think, if I wanted a fix of these main roster guys, I wouldn't have to watch Velocity on Saturday night at 11 o'clock. I could just throw on the network and watch Worlds Collide. Like, there's a market there for somebody. Somebody's watching their favorite sleeper match of all time at a Worlds Collide. And we're not seeing it because, we're older and kind of jaded, but...
There's a new Cameron that's going to say Kaylee Ray versus Candice LeRae is the best match ever or something.
Yeah, like, somebody is going to say, oh man, when I watched that Dijak versus Harper match at Worlds Collide, I wanted to be a wrestler.
I mean, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
But, yeah. So that one's, that's it for the Worlds Collide ones. No more talk about that over the next coming weeks. Unless they just decide to fucking change it. I don't know. They could be like, hey, Worlds Collide's going to happen before Money in the Bank. And I'll be like...
Worlds Collide, the missing matches, the ones that...
yeah, because they didn't do all of them, too. That's the other thing, yeah. They might. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's it. So, I would say thumbs up on the concept, thumbs down on the execution, thumbs in the middle as far as if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out. But speaking of the network, let's talk about another network, the Global Wrestling Network, which really never should have been called that because very quickly into calling it the Global Wrestling Network, they stopped being Global Wrestling Federation. So now they finally decided, let's change that up, and going forward, it's going to be Impact Plus, which the first thing I thought of was everybody wants to be something plus now. It's Disney Plus, and it's, even Screen Junkies had Screen Junkies Plus for a while,
I like the name. I like that it's finally in sync with their brand, because unfortunately, they probably put a lot of money and technology into the Global Wrestling Network app, and they thought, okay, we're gonna be Global Force. We're finally getting away from Impact Wrestling, and this kind of weird black cloud that is Impact. And unfortunately, they had to keep the Impact name due to the lawsuit. I like it. Here's my catch. They're doing a live special every month. It's only $8, so it's like cheaper than the network. Put the pay-per-views on your damn streaming service. If not immediately, then next day access. Here's why. I will not pay $40 for a pay-per-view in 2019. I won't do it unless, and sorry TNA, but unless it's Double or Nothing or, an All Elite thing, I'm not paying $40 for a show when I can get every WrestleMania ever for $10. I'm not paying $40.
Well, that's what's one of those things that I think that they need to just like swallow that pill is when you're doing, because like how much is it for Double or Nothing when you get the StarCast and all that? It's like $50, right?
Yeah, and I mean when you order StarCast, you're getting, a credit to your Fight account, so you're gonna get some money off.
So like grand total, you get all the StarCast week stuff and Double or Nothing. How much is
For
it?
probably maybe $70-$80.
So that's a lot of money to spend. And
But
it didn't
you're
used to
getting
be like, back in the day, it used to be that you'd spend $60 for a pay-per-view just outright or whatever. But
but you're getting 200 shows with the StarCast shit, because you're getting like over 100 and 100 plus stage shows, and you're getting hours and hours of content, and it's
yeah,
worth
you're
it.
getting more than just the pay-per-view. And eventually, if they start doing, like, they can't do a StarCast for every single one of these.
Yeah.
And, Fyter Fest isn't going to have a StarCast before it, and Fight for the Fallen most likely isn't.
I hope they
So
do.
when they run out of doing these StarCast things, then AEW is going to have to be like, all right, we can't charge like $50 or to $100 for these. We have to do $20 for a pay-per-view or something like that. Impact is Impact. It's like you don't charge $40 for a thing that nobody's watching. And if you've got this Impact Plus thing that you want to get people to sign up for, who in the world is going to spend $10 a month and $40 a month? Spend $50 a month to get access to your stuff? No. The WWE Network has infinitely more stuff, and it's $10.
Yeah, which is my whole issue. Now I will say the library of Impact Wrestling is their draw as well. When you think about the fact that you can look at early days of AJ Styles, probably Kurt Angle in the greatest run of his career, the real final days of Ric Flair, the real final days of Mick Foley. You get to see all of that.
And I don't think that it's worth it. If you're a fan of Impact, then it's worth it. But if you're somebody who they want to try to bring in like new people, I don't think anybody's going to actually sign up.
You don't think so, even with all the success of like, hey, come watch AJ Styles when he was really good?
No, because I think people will just Google it.
Fair enough.
But at least it's a good name change. Like, you can't be called Global Wrestling Network and not make it seem like you still haven't moved on. And this should have happened a long time ago. Like, they should have had that, like, because they could have just called it the Impact Wrestling Network,
Yeah, I'm glad that they don't use the term network, though, because for me, that's a very WWE thing,
Yeah, but I mean, like, when they were doing the Global Wrestling Network thing, and then they had to have known when they were fucking around with all this that they were getting into these litigation issues, and it was going to be like, well, I don't know, we really don't think that we're going to keep this GWF thing going forward. And at that point, I would have been like, look, we're not going to end up being GWF. We shouldn't call this the Global Wrestling Network for any reason, because that's sort of like, I don't know, like continuing the TNA name. Like, you're not TNA anymore, you're Impact. So I would have gone with the Impact Wrestling Network from pretty much the start. And then if they wanted to switch it over, like, I like Impact Plus better, and then you switch it over to Impact Plus, And then at least it's not going like, well, we have this product for like 2 years or whatever that points to our old failed business name that we tried to get away from,
I would suggest, really, I think they should have stuck with the TNA name. You can say what you want, but I think calling them Impact Wrestling is dumb. Like, even AEW, with all their progression, still has a 3-letter acronym.
Well, that's where they should have gone with, like, I don't know, like, off the top of my head, like, Impact Wrestling something, let's just say Impact Wrestling Entertainment. They shouldn't have done that, but if that's that, then it's IWE. Like, that's how they should have branded it, I think.
I agree.
Impact Wrestling Federation, IWF. There you go.
I agree.
But no, they're the Global Wrestling Network, and it's yeah, just it's a good name change, and it's a step in the right direction. It's just unfortunately not as many steps as they need, and I'm still just waiting for that time where it's like Ring of Honor is doing some stuff, AEW is making a lot of headway with just nothing. Like, they've got nothing, and they are still the number 2.
Do they have nothing, or do they have double?
They've got Neville, so they got at least the 77th level. But it's weird to think that that's the case, to be like, well, everybody's investing in AEW, they don't have a ring yet, but we'll see. And then Impact Plus is like, we've got a network, and you're like, yeah, shut up. Like, just kind of like, that
Exactly.
Simpsons joke of the like the little sheep at the petting zoo, and it comes by and they're like, "Aw," then the other sheep comes by, "Aw," then the littler one, "Aw," then the other one comes back and they're just like, "Get out of the way." That's like anybody who's like, oh, I don't watch WWE, then it's like, oh, I watch Impact. Oh, that's great or whatever. Then it's like AEW comes along and they're like, yeah, fuck Impact. Just sort of is what it is. But we're not done talking about non-WWE stuff. We have New Japan to talk about. Chris Jericho is going to face Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Dominion. And that's happening.
Did you watch the video package?
Nope.
You really should, just because I know you don't like modern Jericho, and it's so crazy what he's doing with the makeup and stuff, but you can tell he's having a good time, and the people, they buy it, they're into it, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins, only because you just never know with Chris Jericho.
I mean, if the match is awesome, then at some point after it happens, I'll probably try to find it on YouTube or something, but actually, when is Dominion happening?
June 9th, so it's, 2 days after Saudi Arabia?
Oh yeah, fuck that. I'm not gonna watch it then. Because if it was gonna be on a different time frame, then I would have been like, maybe I'll check it out if I can or something. But yeah, after the Saudi Arabia show, that's gonna mess up my sleep schedule even more. And nah.
Yeah, you want to do a Japanese show on top of that?
Yeah, that's
will be
where.
on at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, because the Saudi one's probably gonna be something like that too. It's gonna be like 9 a.m. or something. I think that they did the last one. I don't remember how the time zones work, but so that's going to be like my very little sleep schedule is messed up even more. I don't want to throw a Japanese show on top of that, but if it's great and you and Callum want to review it, then hey, Dominion, possibly review coming up on Smark at Moment in some fashion.
There's a strong chance that Callum and I watch together, and we end up, especially if Jericho wins, we will end up reviewing the show.
Yeah, so go ahead and wait for that, everybody. Well, you can't really do anything else but wait because it's not happening yet. So it's not like go ahead and check that out right now. Let's talk AEW. We know that they have changed the over-the-budget Battle Royal for Double or Nothing, and it's now going to be called the Casino, and then in parentheses, Battle Royale. So obviously I'm a fan of this because Casino Royale is one of my favorite Bond movies, and that's a pun based off of that. So you're throwing a pun about a Bond thing in there for wrestling?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Like, have Captain America say it next or something? Like, it's just going to then feed me pasta and pizza and then you're good. Like, that's great. And we have new rules to go along with that. But before we get into the rules, what do you think about the name?
I love the name. The Casino Royale movie is one of my more favorite Bond movies. It's one of the first Bond movies I really remember being intrigued by. And I love the name. Although when you get into the rules, you'll understand why I think it should be called the Blackjack Battle Royal.
And that's a good name too, because it is going to feature 21 wrestlers. So there's kind of the blackjack type thing already. And it's sort of Royal Rumble rules. They're going to start off with 5, and then 3 minutes later, 5 more are going to come in. And then 3 minutes later, 5 more, and so on. And then eventually, the lucky number 21 is the one who comes in last. So it's essentially the Royal Rumble, but instead of having 1 by 1 every minute or 90 seconds or something, it's groups of 5 every 3 minutes. It's a different way to try things out. And if it doesn't work, then I'm sure they'll tweak it.
Yeah. And it's a one-time thing. They're not going to go back to Vegas anytime soon, presumably not this year. So they have time to finalize their idea, should they want it.
And we still have the same people, I think, as we did last week. It's Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Joey Janela, MJF, which if I remember correctly, MJF was a dude that I liked a lot in All In. He's like a real cocky son of a bitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I liked him.
There's Sonny
Brian
Kiss.
Pillman, yeah, Sonny Kiss, Brian Pillman Jr., Glacier.
Oh,
that's funny. Kip Sabian, Ace Romero, Sunny Days, and Brandon Cutler. So I know some of the names. I mean, obviously I know Trent Beretta. I know Joey Janela from All In, MJF. familiar by proxy of Brian Pillman Jr., but I haven't actually seen his work that I can remember. Glacier's Glacier. But, like, I don't know, for instance, like, Brandon Cutler. Name does not stand out to me. I don't know him.
I believe he's very basic.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's at least a cool little tweak to that. I like the new name, and I like the rules. Kind of interesting.
You know, this AEW, you're going to see a lot of these where it's like, let's try to get our own gimmick matches, our own Royal Rumble, which is exactly what this is. Yes, there's waves of 5 people instead of it being, one by one by one, but it's still building up to the lucky number 21, which is great. I wish they would say hit me every time they load in an extra 5 guys, but it'll be fun. I think if I had to guess, I'm saying MJF.
Well, there's still 10 more spots, so who knows who ends up getting in that. Could be John Moxley or something.
Let me take that back. CM Punk wins it.
What else we have going on here? Bray Wyatt has said that he left a secret message in a bunch of his old promos, and that nobody's really found that out yet.
And he's gonna reveal this next week.
Next week on the Firefly Funhouse, which R.I.P. Rambling Rabbit.
Yeah, what the fuck? He only made it on one appearance.
Yeah, we hardly knew ye.
Rabbit.
You've got at least the slight edge of that you don't talk ill of the dead when it comes to the end of the year awards and the best ancillary characters. Those characters are on there. Like, they're options if people want to pick them at the end of the year. The best extra character could be Abby the Witch or something. But I'm really curious what this secret message is, and I'm like of two kind of minds when it comes to this. Half of me says that's really cool that he had the like the foresight to kind of say, I'm gonna add one random sentence that doesn't make any sense, and it's gonna build to something. And another part of me goes, yeah, but you know what? All of his promos make really no sense, and I bet you when he reveals whatever the secret message is, it equally doesn't make any sense, and it's just gonna be like the random assortment of other things that he could have done in other promos. It'll be like, I'm just saying, let me in. The devil has a postcard with your name on it, and sunrise and the afternoon is great. Pineapples are awesome, and I can't wait to check out the Avengers, or like, it's just kind of one of those things where it'll be like, oh great, that was your message, cool, something cult, something Abby.
I said that a lot tonight. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Apparently when I'm tired I just blurt out the phrase but Bray Wyatt,
as long as you don't say to be honest.
Well, to be honest with you, Tony, I really think that this Bray Wyatt character, I'm very intrigued to see who he attacks first. Like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I get the gimmick. I get that he's like a cult leader for children, which sponsors say is a no-no, but they sure haven't been backing down. Did you see the look on the children's face at the end of the promo today?
That was funny.
That
one kid like falling asleep on the ball.
Yeah. I think, it's going to be something, maybe it's something that we always knew was there, but it was just like, it was so, what is this, that we'd never paid attention to it.
I'm curious to see if this is actually something that he did, as opposed to that he watched his old promos and said, I can take this and make it something,
Either way, I think the creativity is there, and which is really fun.
Yeah, he's trying. We'll see if he executes it well.
I want Bray Wyatt to attack a main event guy. I want him to be a main eventer immediately, because otherwise there's no point.
I want him to attack a heel. because I don't think that anybody would see that coming.
I gotta admit, I would not.
Like, not necessarily this person, but like, let's just say middle of nowhere, he just attacks Bobby Lashley, and it would be like, what? Like, yeah, I thought that he would attack Seth Rollins, that type of thing, and it's like, nah, just fuck you, Baron Corbin, or you know what I mean? Like, just like something like that. Even better if he were to attack somebody who's not a main eventer, just to make it even stranger. Like, who's like a lower kind of heel, like Mojo Rawley comes out, and you think that the segment is going to be about his whole like, oh, I'm looking in the mirrors and I'm whatever bullshit, and then Bray Wyatt attacks him. That'll be like, huh? That'd be really cool. But he'll attack Seth Rollins and fight him for 2 months. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm going the other way. I think he attacks Kofi Kingston.
Could do that. Yeah, they are running these on both shows, and now we're in a spot where brand splits don't matter. But we'll get into that as the main section for this. Before we can do that, we got 2 other ones to talk about. One of them being that they have finally decided, hey, let's take that San Jose thing that was originally. Little backstory. Originally, when I saw this at the very beginning of the year, I had checked Wikipedia, and I had cross-referenced a couple things, and it was listed as NXT TakeOver San Diego. So I had put up templates and did my whole thing, and it was NXT TakeOver San Diego. And then it was like, oh no, that's actually a typo. It's San Jose. And I'm like, fuck. All right. So all my links on the website needed to be changed from San Diego to San Jose. And then it became, we're not going to do that on June, whatever it was, June 8th or whatever. We're going to switch that over, and it's going to be maybe June 1st, but we don't have a name for it or a place. But we're doing a live event on that area, and that's going to be Fort Pierce in Florida. I'm like, okay, well then we'll change it to NXT TakeOver, and it's in Fort Pierce, whatever. And then it goes, or it could be Atlantic, Georgia. It's like, well, you stop fucking me around here. And then it goes, it's Bridgeport, Connecticut, and it's going to be called NXT TakeOver 25. It's like, okay. It's the Webster Bank Arena, June 1st. And there's a couple interesting things about this. We know 2 of the matches on the card, and they've already done all the tapings that'll lead up to it. So 3 more matches are going to be announced through extra stuff. There's a potential for the North American title to go one way or the other. I'm not going to spoil between those 2, but Velveteen Dream could fight one person that was being set up already, or this new person who is being set up.
I think it's a new person. Spoiler.
I think it is too. I think that you're just ditching the previous one, and whatever. Well, everybody knows the previous one by now. The previous one's Dominic Dijakovic, but
I hope that the new person wins.
I kind of do too.
I want the new person to succeed so bad.
Yeah, I kind of want that too. As much as I love Velveteen Dream, it would be kind of interesting. And we don't really know exactly what's happening with Shayna Baszler, but we kind of do. It's pretty much going to be Io Shirai, but maybe they switch that around too. And we're going to see about a couple different things there. But the NXT TakeOver 25 name, I like it and I hate it. I like it for the fact that it's simple and that they didn't go with something like NXT TakeOver Respect, which I still hate that. That's my least favorite out of all of them. But the fact that it's NXT TakeOver and then a number kind of defeats the purpose of the TakeOver name to me.
Well, I think it's fair for just the one. Because remember, these were initially kind of like In Your House, where they just had the tagline based on whatever the main match was, where it was like NXT TakeOver Rival, because it was Kevin and Sammy, or NXT TakeOver Respect, because it was the women in the Iron Man match. So at first there was a outside point to this.
Well, I like the TakeOver name because it's like we're taking over and then the location. So that's why I've never liked NXT TakeOver War Games. Because to me, it should be NXT War Games. That kind of a thing, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, so this should be like NXT 25 or something. I don't know.
NXT Arrival 25 events later.
Oh, not NXT Arrival, but like Maybe they need just another name, like instead of TakeOver or something. Like maybe that's the thing. I've never liked the TakeOver name 100% because I don't like how it's take and then capital O over and like that kind of thing. But when it's like NXT TakeOver Dallas, it's like, oh, okay, NXT is taking over Dallas. When it's NXT TakeOver 25, it's like, yeah, we're gonna take over that 25. What? Like it's just. But I'm so much cooler with the name NXT TakeOver 25 than I would be if they named it something really stupid like NXT TakeOver. I'm trying to even think of something stupid. See, my brain tries not to think of dumb ideas, and that makes it even harder. What would be a horrible name for it that they could go with based off of this? Well, you know what? They could have done something. I would have been okay with this in your house kind of mode if it would have been NXT TakeOver Undisputed.
I like that.
Then I would have been okay with it. But in that regard, they would have needed to book one of the matches that I don't think they necessarily are going to. It's kind of up in the air. But it would be Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong. Because you would need all 4 members of the Undisputed Era in this for it to be called that. But hey, maybe that's the next one. Maybe, what is the next one? It's Toronto, I think?
Yeah, SummerSlam.
Yeah, so maybe they rename that. Maybe it's NXT TakeOver Undisputed or something, but at least it's not NXT TakeOver Era.
It very well could be.
I like the simplistic logo design, too.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of 25. I guess because 25 is the silver anniversary, so it's a very easy logo to do.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't try hard. I mean, I could have done this one. But that's okay.
You think they were sitting around like, we need to come up with a name for this thing already? It's due in like 20 minutes.
Kinda. I think so. But you were saying before we started recording this that you were surprised that they had only done 25 of them.
Yeah, I feel like we've been doing this forever, and I guess I just assumed like there's been 50, even close to 100, and when you really stop and think about it now, they've only done 25.
Yeah, because they've done pretty much 4 or 5 a year. I think it's been 5 a year, if I remember correctly.
I'm almost certain it's 4.
Because I kind of remember them doing like one off, like one oddball one before like Money in the Bank last year, and then another one before some other kind of event. I don't know. What the point is, they did 24 before, and now they're doing 25.
That's right.
So
and I think it'll be the best takeover yet.
I'm going to wait until the card actually formulates before I figure that out, but there's always potential. It's NXT. It could always be amazing. And it's pretty much always going to be at least good. So I'm down for it.
As am I.
That just means changing my schedule around and doing all that all over the round. That hasn't happened enough in the past month and a half. Let's talk Table for 3. It was Superstar Wives, and it featured Reby Hardy, Kim Orton, and Giovanna Angle. And my first note was, how the fuck was this one of the most interesting episodes in a long while?
You know, when you told me, damn it, fuck, I did it again. When you told me that you were really into it, I immediately had to turn it on. It was so bad it was good for me. Because Reby and Kim have those thick, like, New York accent. Kim to the point where it was almost phony, where she's just like, and and I'm gonna go get some water, and
I swore that.
Yeah, and with Reby, it's like the typical Spanish girl, so it just like threw me back in high school. And why was Giovanna Angle the anchor for this? Like, she was the middle, kind of holding the conversation together.
Yeah, she really glued them to being like, hey, but how about we talk about this kind of topic, and how about we kind of rein it in a little bit there. And it was like, she's doing the like the stuff that she wouldn't get like a pat on the back for, because she wasn't talking as much. It was mostly Kim Orton and Reby Hardy, but I was not surprised. Not surprised. I was not seeing this coming, where I would be like, engaged as much as I was with this. I thought that it was going to be one of those things, and I'm generalizing too, keep that in mind. But I was like, all right, this episode is going to be the three of them are going to order salads, and they ended up ordering pizza, which was like, pizza looked fucking good. They're going to order salads, and they're going to talk about things that I'm just going to be like, oh my God, why isn't this over yet? And from like the very start of it, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm kind of interested in hearing this story about how they met. I'm kind of interested in hearing, oddly enough, about the engagements and all that. I'm like, I hate reality shows, and I hate things like Caroline loves shows like Love and Hip Hop, and I'm like, this stuff is garbage. And I'm watching, these three wives of these wrestlers who I'm obviously a little bit familiar with Reby Hardy, but I've never like seen an interview with Giovanna Angle or read up really anything on Kim Orton or anything like that. And I was just kind of like, all right, fucking talk. Like I'm listening,
Yeah, it was good, but it's also the kind of TV I don't like. It was very like Real Housewives of New York style.
Right. That's what I thought it was going to be, more like catty and all that, and I wouldn't have been into that.
Yeah. But no, it was a really nice conversation, and Kim Orton was just a fan who was like, yeah, Randy's gonna make out with me and that's it. He's mine. Like,
she's living that fan dream of what all these people that have like these fake Twitter accounts that are like, oh, I'm married to Dean Ambrose and all this. It's like she went to a wrestling event and was like, man, I want to fuck Orton. And then he saw her and he was like, hey. And she's like, oh, yeah.
And not only that, but it worked out to where they live together. They're married, like,
for years now, like 5 years, I think she said. And it's like, she clearly is like still super into him. And bonus points for Randy Orton being an asshole and teasing her about the proposal. Like, that was a fun little story about him just being a jerk. Like I want to bend down
Randy
and pretend
Orton is my favorite. Like I told you, asshole Randy Orton is the best.
Orton is exactly the type of person. Never met the guy, so I don't know for sure, but he seems like exactly the type of person that would be in like a friend group of mine. Like, where you're like, if he's joking around with somebody other than me, it's funny as hell. If he's joking around with me, I'm like, you're old dick. Like that kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
And I like that. I mean, it's funny. Like, earlier he tweeted something which I thought was hilarious, which is like, Cena had put something up about like, never let anybody take happiness away from you or something. And he was just like, these marks asking you for photographs again or something. It's like,
and then he's like, nope, charter planes only.
Yeah.
It's such a dick.
He's been doing that a lot lately, and it's so fantastic. It's awesome. Now I can hear my buddy Chuck going, what an asshole. I like this. I definitely recommend it. Definitely see it. Yeah. Oddly enough, this is my favorite table for three that's happened in a long time, since I think maybe like the Nation of Domination one or something.
I agree. See it.
Yeah, very cool. So let's talk about the big thing here. This is our main event of our non-main event podcast. That's how that works. There is a precedent that has been thrown out the window. WWE said, hey, we're going to do a 2-night superstar shakeup that'll last 3 weeks. And then we're going to go, fuck it. Because there is now a thing called the wild card rule, which works this way. According to, this is their explanation for it on the episode itself. And then we're going to, read through the lines kind of thing. Vince McMahon was like, hey, we don't want Roman Reigns to be on Raw. Damn it, Roman Reigns is on Raw. Well, that's going to open up the floodgates. And also, here's Daniel Bryan. And also, here's Kofi Kingston. Okay, well, those people just happen to book their flights and whatever, and we're just going to ignore that. I know what I'm going to do. We're going to make it to where at any random given time, 3 people can move over from Raw or SmackDown for 1 week or however long we want. Throw our hands up in the air and we'll see what happens. And then Shane McMahon came out with Elias, and then Lars Sullivan came out, and they kept repeating throughout the whole night, 3 people. And then eventually they had to address the idea, oh, let's make it 4. 5, no, Elias doesn't count, and all these whacked out rules, which that's a whole nother story. But let's be honest, what this is we're worried about the ratings, and the only solution that we have is, why don't we pop people every once in a while by saying, hey, there's going to be a special appearance by this person on Raw.
I think it's a brilliant move, because they give themselves the out of being like, well, I'm not topical right now. You know, like Roman Reigns, they put Kofi on in the main event instead of Roman Reigns because they know Kofi's topical and he's super over. So you're going to see a lot more stuff like that, I think, going forward. Until they just end the brand split at some point.
See, I don't think that Kofi thing being in the main event is a sign of progression. I think that they've been doing for the past 2 years or so, the main event of Raw isn't necessarily the main event. The second hour is the main event.
So just make it a 2-hour show.
They should, but they make more money with the third hour. And everything else that happened on Raw was like a standard episode of Raw. They changed a couple things around a little bit. Like they were able to have Charlie Caruso act like an actual human being instead of a robot. And that type of stuff can go far if you keep doing that. But you can't just do it for 1 week and then expect people to be like, well, now we're going to go from, a 1.8 to a 4.0 or something. It's not a quick fix like that isn't going to fix it. And they should have learned that lesson from when they did that last panic move, or the last panic move before that, which was when they said, hey, let's throw these NXT people on there with no game plan. That didn't work. And they can't go into these meetings that they've been doing lately, these like quarterly reports, and they're saying revenue's down because there's a lack of star power that people were missing, and then they're going to come back. That's not the problem. The problem is people aren't liking the writing. And it's probably not the writer's fault. So,
yeah, they give too much to just be sitting back about.
If you decide that you're going to go into the promotion of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, because it's supposed to go one way or the other, but we know that Raw is going to be the priority, at least until we get closer to the whole Fox thing. If the only suggestion of how to fix the ratings problems is, well, going into the episode, we can announce that somebody from the opposite brand is going to make an appearance. That's not going to work more than once or twice, maybe,
Yeah, it's definitely a dated gimmick, but like I said, I think it's largely they suffered this WrestleMania season because all their hottest acts were mostly SmackDown acts with Becky and Kofi. And I think they're like, hey, if anyone gets over at any point in time, we can just slap them between both shows.
It's an attempt to give themselves an out where, I mean, sometimes they don't even bother doing this, so I guess we should kind of take that for what it's worth, but this is their explanation for how they can have a non-brand split with a brand split.
Yep. And unfortunately for us, we have to watch it.
That'll be like if they really want to do it and they want Brock Lesnar to pop up on SmackDown in one episode, then they're going to announce that ahead of time, and they're going to hope and cross their fingers that gets the ratings to bump. But then what happens the week after that, It becomes back to normal. And you don't have that gimmick to go with every single week. Because if you go with it every single week, then there is no brand split. And then it's not special anymore. It's like self-defeating.
I've been pushing no brand split for how long, Tony?
Yeah, but that's where like the buck stops there.
If you can't follow the parameters of your own organization, don't fucking do the thing.
Yeah.
It's a superstar shakeup. 1 week, 2 nights. Next week, we had to change some things. Samoa Joe's on Raw. Aleister Black is on SmackDown now. The next week, the Good Brothers have moved over to Raw. The next week, the B team's on Smack. It's like, come on, guy. Just don't fucking do the thing if you can't follow your own parameters.
Well, what's the old phrase? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yep.
Logically, if you look at the way that WWE has been booking themselves for the past however many months, they've been trying to do the opposite of that by doing the same thing. They've been saying, we don't want to do the same thing all the time. We want to keep switching it up, and we're going to just throw everything out the window and do something different. But when they do that every week, it becomes every week is let's throw everything out the window and do something different. So for 5 months or 7 months or however long it's been, at least since like Survivor Series, actually before Survivor Series, because the World Cup thing was before Survivor Series, right?
Yeah. That was.
And that was like, let's change the World Cup thing because that's going to lead into Survivor Series. And then Survivor Series became, well, it doesn't really have anything to do with the World Cup, but let's have SmackDown get its ass kicked because that'll lead to something. And then a couple weeks later, it was like, well, we're not going to really do that anymore. We're going to just have this. Let's throw the NXT people on there. Well, we're not going to really have the NXT people, but we're going to do this. Well, we're not going to really do that, but and it's like that becomes the routine, which means if the routine from the past 7 months has been whatever you're watching one week isn't necessarily going to matter the next week, then that's why the ratings stay the same, because everybody goes, I don't need to watch Raw. It's not like it's going to matter by next week. You know? That's the problem. Not we need Roman Reigns on Raw.
And again, that's their own fault. You set the people up to believe that after Mania, your show means nothing, and now you're paying for it.
Literally.
So this wild card thing is going to be the gimmick for at least probably tomorrow. But they might continue this one, actually. This might be their means to be like, well, let's have this come into play 4 weeks from now or 2 months from now or a year from now or whatever. And they continue it, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of stock in it. At the very least, I don't have any stock in it when it comes to being helpful.
You know, oh, fuck. I did it again. I like. I totally lost my train of thought in the thing, but I think it'll be a good ruling for now. And I think when in 2 months they want Charlotte Flair on Raw, they have the wild card rule. When they move over to Fox and they don't want to move Brock Lesnar, hey, guess what? They have the wild card rule.
Now, do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've seen a few episodes.
No, I don't watch religiously.
Do you know the whole wild card thing?
I do
Because we were talking about it before. I was talking about it with Kevin, where he's just like driving in the.
He's in the van and he cuts the brakes and he's just like, wild card, bitches! Wow! That's what I was thinking with Vince McMahon just being like, it's a wild card. Like, just be like, is he going to cut the brakes on the fucking garbage truck backstage and just be like, wild card, bitches? Yeah!
Alright, but that was funny. That, and I saw a lot of people complaining about that. That was hysterical to me.
About the garbage thing?
Him going, well, I'm brilliant. Like, I've had an epiphany. This isn't Roman's idea. He didn't defy authority. This is my idea. This is wild card, and we're gonna call it the what? Like, they made it seem like we don't know what the fuck this is. We just came up with this. Like,
next week it'll have a different name. It'll be the Wild Experience.
I thought it'd be the card experience.
Oh no, because then you have to go, well, that's too long of a name. We're just gonna call it Card.
Yeah, so there you have it. Next week, the War Raiders will be called Card.
Yeah, there you go. And that's how you get to June.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. But the wild card has potential, but I don't think it's going to be a catch-all fix for everything. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It didn't work as a Survivor Series match in 1995.
That's a good deep cut. Who was it? It was Ahmed.
It's Ahmed, Sean, Razor, and Bulldog. No, Ahmed, Sean, Sid, and Bulldog against Razor, Dean Douglas, Owen Hart, Yokozuna,
What
and Sean, Bulldog, and Ahmed win.
That's worth a shot.
This is why I need the stupid job that's just like going through their tapes for network content.
Just like not quite an archivist, but I don't know, like what you would classify that job.
Yeah, we'll call it an archivist. Just pay me to watch your shit. I do it anyway.
Well, there you go. Never pay somebody something if they'll do it for free.
That's true.
But...
Well, I'm done watching WWE because I want to get paid for
it. Well, that's it for the hot tags. As far as I have on my list, anything else that we need to run down you can think of?
No, but I really tonight I pissed myself off with the whole you know thing because I realized that I said that like 7 times, and I'm sorry.
No, you didn't know. All right, well, that is it then. We just need to round out some plugs here for everybody who wants to continue to check out Smack Talk in the future. Obviously, if you are on YouTube, you should be hitting that YouTube subscribe button because that's what it's there for. And when you do that, ring the little bell, and that way you will get the email alerts for all the next podcasts that are going to be coming up, including the next episode, which we actually already recorded, which is a commentary track for the 2011 SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match. So we did that on Saturday or so, I think.
We did
I don't remember for sure. Friday?
No, we did that on Sunday. No,
yesterday?
No,
we didn't do it yesterday. I don't know. We did it someday.
We did that on Saturday. We did it was the Sheamus, Sin Cara, Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel later, Daniel Bryan, and Kane.
Yeah, so we did that, and that is going to be publishing or premiering on, I think, noon Eastern time on Wednesday. So, be aware of that. And you could also listen to us on just audio-only type of platforms like iTunes and Google Play and Spotify and Stitcher, and I think we're on like Podbean and like whatever .fm, and we're on Anchor and so on and so forth. So if you are on any of those, then review us or rate us or thumb us up or whatever those platforms have. Give us a like, give us a share, a follow, whatever those things are. Follow us. Excuse me. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkoutMoment. Go to smarkoutmoment.com and check out all the other non-podcast related material that we got. So we got like the weekly articles, and there's obviously updated pay-per-view predictions whenever I get a chance to do that and stuff. So that's all happening there. I've got fanboysanonymous.com for all my geek culture review type stuff. Eventually, I'm going to be seeing Detective Pikachu on Thursday, so you'll be hearing my review of that on the latest review point. I'm going to be doing something based off of Season 4 of Lucifer, try to binge watch that. Lots of article side of things as well, because I really want to do a lot of those. I've got plenty of ideas that I just don't have the time to work on. And if you're on the Mega Maniacs right now, vote on the poll, because I want to get a gauge of what you guys would actually want me to see, want to see me put the most amount of effort into. Do you really want me to reformat that Pokedex and do things like make Blastoise a part steel type, different things like that? Or do you want to know my thoughts on how to resurrect dead characters in Endgame, or how to write what Kick-Ass 3 should be? Like TV series pitch of how would you do a TV show based off of The Breakfast Club? Like lots of ideas like that I just haven't had the time to work out. So vote on the poll, and I'll try to figure out some kind of time to work on some of those. And that's all going to be happening on fanboysanonymous.com. So obviously go on that site and check and follow all the other kind of things that go along with that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. And I've got other stuff that are happening on eWrestling News and Bleacher Report. You could always find that stuff on plenty of other things, including my Facebook and my Twitter at Tony Mango. The Patreon, something you should be aware of. That is for Smark Out Moment and Fanboys. There is a Redbubble and a TeePublic shop for both. If you want to pick up an I Love You 3000 shirt, I've got 5 different designs that I think have 4 different variations of each design that are up on TeePublic, so that took a while. That stuff all is things that you should be interested in, so click around and you will follow lots of things that are going on. Thank you for all the support when you do that stuff, everybody. Rob?
Are we accepting Bitcoin. Give
I don't.
us one Bitcoin. I think it's like $6,000, please.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, like give us a Bitcoin, guys. But as for
Admittedly,
me,
I don't know a damn thing about Bitcoin, and I don't even know if I have any means to get Bitcoin.
I try to, but I'm just saying, like it would help me. And if you do want to help me, you can check out Time Killer Apparel. That is the best way to directly support me. That is my clothing brand. You can buy a t-shirt, hoodie. That I want to make some leggings. I really want to do more with that, but you gotta understand, it's not thriving as much as I would like it to. So I have to focus on the things that do pay me, such as Tony with Fanboys Anonymous. You know? So, if you support that, it would greatly help me. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DukeFelice. You can check out 2001 Wrestling Odyssey on all of the amazing platforms that Tony mentioned earlier. Check out my stuff on Ring Report, eWrestling News, WrestleZone Daily. I'm doing Yummy in the Bank, guys. Yummy in the Bank. We're gonna have fast food mascots wrestle each other, because my life is wild. And that's it for me, and I literally have to get up in 7 hours and go to work, so I'm gonna nap.
And right now, I just have in my mind, yummy, yummy, yummy. I've got bank in my tummy.
Oh my god, I'm gonna do that tomorrow.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, tomorrow is happening at some point. I have to edit all this podcast stuff, so you will find out all the things that we just talked about when that happens. But for now, we will see you later. This has been another Smart Guy moment, and we're being counted out.